We haven't had a chance even yet to talk about Graham Platner.
Well, one of the really interesting things about this guy is that 12 months ago, no one had heard of him.
Right.
Yep. He is now the Democratic nominee in Maine for the United States Senate. So I was running back in my head through the decades. When was the last time in Maine that there was a candidate who became the party nominee from either the Republicans or the Democrats whom no one had heard of 12 months before? And I've gone back at least to the 1950s, Don, and I mean, there's just no precedent for this. This is a guy who came out of nowhere, knocked Janet Mills out of the race, the two-term governor, former attorney general. I mean, it's pretty remarkable what he has accomplished.
Yeah, possibly it could only happen nowadays in the era of social media and all of that, instant communication. But you're right. I think what we heard tonight was why the folks from New York or wherever it was who recruited him to be the candidate, why they did it. And he's, as Jason Levesque even said, he's a very good and powerful speaker. But I was thinking, he hasn't had really an opponent in this race so far other than himself. Janet Mills was focused on slamming Donald Trump. And so and of course they never got to meet face to face. So he's now going to have an opponent. Clearly, he is going to be the toughest opponent, certainly the toughest talking opponent Susan Collins has ever faced. And so it's going to be a at least on his side, a bare knuckle campaign. So it's going to be fascinating to see how Senator Collins handles that and what happens over the next 5 months. 5 months, amazing.
Two very different styles.
You couldn't get more different.
Yeah.
And really, while she's had some tough opponents, including Shelley Pingree and last time Sarah Gideon, though arguably those have been very civil campaigns, I think is fair to say. They've sparred back and forth, but very civil. I don't know that Graham Platner is going to be civil.
Well, the television war 6 years ago between Susan Collins and Sarah Gideon was not civil. That one was like unleash everything you got, drop all the bombs, and.
But this one's going to be worse.
Yeah, it probably will, and probably with even more money being spent.
So along that line, I'm curious, where does the role of character come into campaigns now as we're seeing campaigns evolve? Is that a pedestal that it used to be?
It's not.
No.
That much I think we can safely say. It is not the factor that it used to be. And we're seeing that nationally, and we're seeing that in Maine.
Yeah. It's, as an old guy, it's kind of astounding to me to see that's gone. And I've talked with Democratic friends. I've seen columns on all of that, how you've got Donald Trump, and now you've got Graham Platner. He's sort of the Democrats' version of that. And that's where we're at. And we're going to see how that plays out. Susan Collins that's not her style. She's always very measured and restrained in how she speaks.
But there's going to be tens of millions of dollars that'll be spent by PACs and others, and most of that money will go towards attacking Graham Platner. On the Republican side, the money that flows into the Republican PACs will go towards attacking Graham Platner. The money that flows into the Republican PACs and other outside forces will go towards trashing Susan Collins. I mean, it's not going to be a high-minded Oxford University debate.
No, I think that is the great summation right there.
We may use that quite a bit, actually.